Welcome to another Moment of Tiki, not coming to you today from my home tiki bar in Central Texas, but from the stairwell of my home. The reason we're doing this today is if you recall my earlier episode about making the tiki baseboards, you'll realize that upstairs is where we are converting an unused loft area into a tiki space. Not working on that today because the next step is wall coverings, and wall coverings cost money that we don't currently have during the pandemic shutdown. But the stairwell area leads to and from that, and so we want to enhance the experience, the transition, so to speak, which is a popular tiki concept. In the stairwell, we have a large section of blank wall which is vertical, which needs something there to contribute to the overall aesthetic. Now, my wife is a professional photographer, pin-up, boudoir, as well as underwater, and has come up with some images that she would like for us to include here. So I want to appropriately tiki-fy the presentation. And it's a relatively simple, straightforward process that we're going to share with you today. So let's get to it. I've said before on A Moment of Tiki that my wife is a professional photographer. She does pin-up, boudoir, and also underwater photography. This is a banner she made of our daughter, who is an aspiring professional mermaid. She wants to hang this in the stairwell in our house. It's the stairwell space I measured is 43 inches across. And what I think I'm going to do is cut some bamboo lengths to frame the top and the bottom and anchor it to hold it straight, weigh it down, and also give us something solid to hang it from. So in order to do that, I need to get the width of the banner. So here, and span out. So we are right at 36 inches. Let's go see if I have any pre-torched bamboo that is the proper size that we can work with. Okay, the banner is 36 inches across, so I want the bamboo to be slightly extended beyond the edges of that. So I'm going to cut this at, say, about 39 inches, which will give me 1.5 inches overhang on either side of the banner. So, measuring tape. 39 right there. Now, since I'm going to have to cut this, I'm going to wrap this with blue tape to minimize any type of tear out, because as we all know, bamboo loves nothing more than to splinter. Now that the groove is cut through the center of each comb, I need to measure and mark where I am going to drill a hole so I can thread screws through. So the length of this is 39 inches. So half of 39 is 19.5. So find 19.5. Mark right there. And since I have an 1.5 inch overhang, I want the outside screws to be approximately 3 inches from the end. So 3 inches there. And 3 inches on this side. Okay. So with everything marked, I am now going to drill all the way through the bamboo. Blade's bit's starting to get a little dull. And I'm going to widen the hole just slightly because to enable the screw to thread through more easily. Okay, we have a screw, and we get it right there. Have it lined up properly and use the drill. Okay. This is on here just for a placeholder. I'm going to disassemble it shortly. I've taken the banner and inserted it into the slot after I removed the screws. It looks like it fits well. Now I need to drill a hole or cut a hole through the canvas so the screw can go all the way through to secure it. Because this side is blue, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to turn this over to the back side. And you can see the canvas is white. And to mark the locations on the canvas where a hole needs to be cut, I have black acrylic paint and a yardstick, essentially. I'm going to dab a little bit of black, maybe at some point on here. Hang on, there we go. And go right through there. All right, now, hopefully, once I pull this out, we will have spots marked on there for me to cut holes in. And yes, we do. 2 of these are really close to the edge. This one is not so much. So we are definitely going to have our work cut out for us to reinforce this part of the canvas when we cut the hole so it doesn't rip all the way through. So I've got the holes cut through. I used an X-Acto knife to cut the holes on top of a cutting board. And then to reinforce them, initially I thought I would use epoxy, but I didn't want to wait that long, and it struck me that with my track record, I would probably make a much bigger mess and potentially ruin this. So I decided to go with the junkyard solution and just use some duct tape. I cut some duct tape, put it over each section to reinforce. There's not a whole lot of weight going to be put on each of these joints individually, so hopefully the duct tape will be enough to reinforce it and keep the canvas, which is fairly robust in and of itself, from shredding. And now all I have to do is slot this in there and run the screws through. Got one more thing I have to do before I slot the top bamboo frame onto the poster, and that's to work up a hanger. So I'm going to use this jute twine. I'm assuming it's jute twine. And cut it so. And slot this in. A little tight there. There we go. All the way in. And pull it through so that the knot disappears inside the bamboo. There we go. And we have our frame.
For aesthetic reasons, as well as to help stabilize the cut ends of the bamboo, I decided to wrap the ends in jute twine. I applied a line of shoe glue, a glue I've found to be both strong and flexible, and laid one end of the twine atop the glue. Once dried, it anchored the twine securely in place. From there, I wrapped the jute twine around the bamboo circumference, making sure each loop of twine was pulled tightly against the previous loop. Once I had the bamboo thoroughly wrapped, I tied the two loose ends of twine together with a square knot, using a dab of glue to firmly secure it. After that, it took just a quick flick of the X-Acto knife to trim the ends of the twine. I carefully measured and marked the location where the hooks to support the banner would go. I drilled 3/8" holes on each marked spot in which to insert the drywall anchors. This was necessary because there were no wall studs located behind the drywall where the hooks needed to go. Once the holes were drilled, I inserted the wall anchor and screwed in the hook. All that remained was to hang the banner and unfurl it, which I somehow managed to do without falling.
And there you have it. The Mermaid banner is now in its forever home in the stairwell that leads up to our tiki space upstairs. People walking up the stairs will not necessarily see it, but when they leave to come downstairs, that's the first thing that'll catch their eye. It is a fantasy underwater escapist theme, which carries over from the Lagoon of Mystery outside and kind of ties our upstairs space with the downstairs space, keeps everything consistent in that same kind of fantasy vibe, tiki vibe. It was a relatively simple project. It's one of the few I've done from start to finish that I was able to complete in a reasonable amount of time without a parade of mistakes and screw-ups along the way to set me back. Hopefully you're able to take some ideas from this and apply it to your own builds at home. So until next time, aloha.